Hey friends, I hope y'all are having a great day. Today we're doing a Dollar Tree grocery budget challenge where I fed my family of 7 for one day for about 35 cents per meal, or about $7.50 for all of the meals. And I went to my local Dollar Tree to make sure that they had all of the items that I wanted to choose. But a few of the items I buy in bulk, so I get a better price that way. So if I had them on hand already, I just used what I had on hand, if that makes sense. But I did get the other items, but they were in stock the day that I was there. And I hope y'all enjoy it, and I hope that wasn't too confusing. Here's a look at everything that we got. You can see most everything I already had on hand. So we've got some oats. My Dollar Tree only had quick cooking, and I've only got old fashioned. But you can pulse it a couple times in a food processor to get quick cooking because they're just more ground up than old fashioned. Then we got a stir fry blend, coconut milk. Those are the only two items that I actually got from the Dollar Tree. And then we've got a can of peas. And I swore that I had a bag of frozen vegetables from the Dollar Tree, and I guess we had already used it, so I just selected this can that my kids had taken the label off. And whenever I chose it, I didn't actually realize that it said what it was on the can, but I was pretty sure that it was a can of vegetables whenever I chose it. Then we got a pound of Great Northern beans. It was, of course, a 2-pound package, but I had already used 1 pound of them, so we're left with just 1 pound, which is what the Dollar Tree sells. And then you get 2 pounds of rice at the Dollar Tree, which is 5 cups, and I'm only going to use 4. Then you get 11 servings of oats, and I'm only going to use 7. So to start the day off, I wanted to make sure that the beans were plenty cooked. So while I'm working on breakfast, I also got the beans going with about 5 to 6 cups of water. I rinsed them and picked through them really well, and then I'm just going to pressure cook them for 30 minutes and let them just hang out until lunch. Before I got the beans going, I put 7 cups of water in a pot and got it starting to boil. To that, I will be adding 3.5 cups of oats. To be honest, we had leftovers because not everyone can eat a full serving, and a couple of people like more than a serving, so it evens out for us, and we still ended up with leftovers, which is perfectly fine. I mostly made this amount to just show y'all that there was plenty enough food to be had, and there was even more than this. There was 4 more servings that would have came in the Dollar Tree package. So to season my oatmeal, or flavor it, I used peanut butter and cinnamon. Because I tried thinking okay, if I wasn't able to go shopping for a good long time, what would I most likely still have on hand? It really feels like to me, though, that I don't ever run out of peanut butter or cinnamon, but I know that everyone is different. So you just use whatever you have on hand. The options are truly endless, really. Just to name a few options, you might have pancake syrup or corn syrup, honey, any kind of sugar or sweetener is going to be good. Maybe you've only got some jam or jelly in the fridge. Go ahead and put some of that in there and stir it up, kind of get it melted down a little bit in there, and it's going to be absolutely delicious. Or if you don't have any kind of sweetener or sweetness for your oatmeal, then maybe you have something savory. Some people really enjoy savory oatmeal, and so maybe you've got some chicken bouillon powder, or maybe some salt and pepper. This is what 1 serving of oatmeal looks like plated up. This is a 2-cup bowl, and a serving of oatmeal is about 1.5 cups because you got a cup of water, 1/2 cup of oats. It's a very nice, hearty, filling breakfast that is super nutritional in my opinion, because it's got lots of nutrients and vitamins and minerals and all of that stuff that I really don't know what I'm talking about because I'm not a nutritionist, but it is a very hearty amount of food and it's delicious. Here's the beans after they finish cooking. They're perfectly cooked. Now I'm showing y'all how I cook the rice for lunch and for dinner because we're serving things over rice. So I do this the same way each and every time. I start out with 2 cups of rice, 4 cups of water, bring it up to a boil, put a lid on, turn the heat down to a medium-low, and then set a timer for 10 minutes. Then I turn the heat off and set the timer for 10 minutes again, and then voila, perfect rice each and every single time. I didn't get the best footage of my rice cooking, but I have shown it before a few times, several times maybe even, but you can see it's like perfectly cooked, and you can choose brown rice if you want to. So now we're getting started on lunch, and I had been really wanting curry lately because, we're coming into fall and curry is just so comforting in my opinion. I was thinking, what if I was doing one of these out of necessity and I couldn't get the curry paste. I actually had red curry paste on hand. It was very tempting to use it, but I was like, no, we're just going to try and imitate these flavors because that's what I would have to do if, I couldn't afford the curry paste, because to be honest, it's a little pricey because it's about $3 for that small container, and I only get 2 curry or, 2 batches of curry out of it. So that's $1.50 for just a little tiny thing, or, one part of a meal. So anyways, we're going to try imitating it. And so I'm just starting out by sauteing up those vegetables until they're slightly softened. Now I'm adding in some beans for protein purposes because, I wanted it to be a hearty, filling, and delicious meal. I'm probably adding in about a quarter of the beans, or roughly 1 can's worth, because there's about 4 cans per pound of beans roughly. Now I'm showing you the red curry paste that's taunting me to use it because that would just make life simple, but we're not going to use it. We're going to imitate the ingredients on the back. So I'm using some Sriracha in place of the red chilies. Then I read online that lemongrass tastes similar to basil, parsley, and lemon. So I'm using all 3 of those because I always have those on hand as well. If I wouldn't have had the lemon juice, I would have used just a little bit of vinegar or apple cider vinegar because I feel like that would have gave some acidity like the lemon juice does. I've never been able to find lemongrass in my area. Not that I've done like extensive search for it, but I haven't ever seen it at any of my local grocery stores. So it was pretty cool to kind of imitate that flavor a little bit without having to hunt down lemongrass. So I know I'm using several seasonings that I already have on hand, and if y'all don't have these, then just work with what you do have on hand. That's what I'm doing. It called for several other things, and I just didn't have them. So I just worked with what I had on hand, and that's kind of what we have to do if we're in scenarios like this is, you just work with what you have on hand. So it called for, or on the ingredients list, it had garlic and shallots, which is similar to an onion, I'm pretty sure. So I just used garlic and onion powder. And although it's not going to give the same amount of bulkiness to the meal as garlic and onion would, it still is going to kind of imitate those flavors. Next, I'm going to add 4 packets of soy sauce, and I've had these packets in my fridge forever, so I just decided to use those because I imagine that's what I would still have because I've had them forever. I imagine that 4 packets is probably close to about a quarter of a cup of soy sauce though. But if you don't have soy sauce, you could also just use some salt, maybe some extra chicken broth, because we'll be adding some chicken bouillon in just a second, and also some water to kind of make it into chicken broth. And if you don't have chicken bouillon, but you have like vegetable or beef bouillon, then just substitute those. That is some sugar. My recipe that I normally use calls for a little bit of brown sugar. I didn't have brown sugar on this day, so I just used regular sugar, and that looks like a lot, I realize, but it was actually just a little bit more than a tablespoon. So I also just added in 2 cups of water about, and next I'm going to add in about a tablespoon-ish of chicken bouillon powder. I definitely don't recommend just dumping it like you see me do here. I know it looks like a lot more than it probably was because, seasonings, they just kind of spread out. But I definitely don't recommend just dumping in anything salty like that. It turned out just fine for me, but you definitely could overdo it on the salt. And I think that putting a shaker tab on top of chicken bouillon powder, like mine is very, very dangerous. Because then I'm tempted to just dump it like you'll see me do again later. And so, anyways, after I let that simmer for a little bit, I added in my coconut milk. And then I'm going to let this simmer for another couple minutes and serve this on top of the rice. And I was so impressed by how good this curry turned out. I cannot stress to y'all enough how delicious this was. I can't wait to make it again. In fact, I don't know why I haven't made it again already. I would gladly eat this for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, whatever. Any time of day, every day. I mean, I might just be exaggerating just a little bit, but this was so good. I was beyond thrilled with how this turned out because, yeah, it's so cheap and delicious. And, yeah. So, anyways, I'm going to quit rambling about it. So, I tried to be like a fancy YouTuber and show you me plating up my food like some of them do. But as you can see, you just get to see me randomly picking at things. You know, being very selective with how it looks and all that good stuff. And me missing the camera by a good bit with my bowl. But here I finally show it to you. Not once, but twice. So in case you didn't see it the first time. But then this just looks so delicious. I think it looks fabulous. It was so good. So for dinner, y'all get to watch me make a mess of my stovetop. Because I used a skillet when I should have used a pot. But I added the peas and the beans, plus some chicken bouillon powder to my skillet that overfills. And I don't know if y'all get to see that because I zoomed in on the camera. You see it starting a little bit there, but we haven't stirred yet. Anyways, I was originally going to add the rice to this, but instead I served it on top and just mixed it together in the bowl. Yeah, see, you couldn't see the mess that I really made. This doesn't look as good as it really was. This reminded me of like a rice-a-roni dinner. The protein is the beans, and then you got some veggies, you got some carbs, or, you know, grains, filling things. Deliciousness. It was good. Always remember that Jesus loves y'all and I love y'all too. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you soon. Bye.